Alright guys, so today we're doing a Chrysler Town & Country. So you can see this one is an 05, and we're going to be putting new rotors, new control arm. If you can see, those bushings right there are shot completely. We're going to be putting new struts. So obviously you're going to jack up the car, you're going to put stands underneath. You're going to take the wheel off for the first side that you're going to be working on. This side completely is going to be disassembled all the way through because the axle has to come out. You need to get the bolt on the bottom of the control arm. It sits right here on the bottom. So that being said, I'm going to be changing the strut, I'm going to be changing the rotor and pads, I'm going to be changing the lower control arm and the links. So that being said, I gotta take everything apart. So to start with, we can probably start by removing the caliper, the rotor, the steering rack, the swivel link. We got ABS sensor, and then obviously we got the nut for the axle. So what I'm going to do first is going to be take the rotor in that, so we have a little bit more access to things, a little bit more open space, you know, make it breathe a little bit better. So what we're going to do first is we're going to compress that piston in. So once we put the new pads on, it's going to be all compressed, and then we got, I'm assuming it's going to be Allen keys in here, and then we got the bracket, which is right here, this big bolt. There's one here and there's one in the bottom, and then from there the rotor should be able to slide out once we take the bracket and the pads off and whatnot. And then here we can take this off here, or there's a little bolt here in the back, a 10mm I believe it is. Okay, and then we have the sensor here, another 10 right here. And then we got these two nuts. I'm gonna hammer these things out. We got the steering. That's probably one of the first things that we want to do, so we can get movement, and we make it easier on removing this nut and the one in the back here. And we want to take out the link. That way we don't have any stress on the strut. And from there, I'm assuming we have to take a lot more stuff on the bottom to be able to get the control arm and whatnot. So, but let's get this side done, loosen up this. We can take the rotor, that, and this out of the way so we can have movement. Alright, be right back. Alright guys, so I already kind of took some of the stuff apart. The compressor piston, we took it out. The Allen key there is a number 7. There you go. Number 7. Then you got 21mm here. Then you got a, for the bracket, let's see what was, I think it's a 18, 21. Yeah, it's a 21. You go like that. For the nut here for the axle, that's a 32. For this one right here, it's a, I think it's a 17, 8, I think it's an 18. Let me see. Yep, it's an 18. I'm going to be taking that out next. I already put the caliper kind of hanging in there. Now the axle is already loose. Still, I put some PB blaster. This thing doesn't want to come out. If it doesn't, I'm gonna have to heat it up a little bit. But yeah, what you do is just hammer it on this corner here, and it should pop up. But so far it hasn't, so I'm gonna let it sit with PB blaster for a second and see what happens. I don't want to take this two out yet because I need to get this one out first. in order to move this out of the way and be able to get the axle out. So I'm gonna tackle this guy first. Now I'm gonna see if I could take this line out. We'll see. But I'm gonna take the sway bar link out, and then I want to fight with this one and see what's up. Alright, be right back, guys. Alright guys, so we finally got this guy out with a little bit of heat. We just took this guy out again with a little bit of heat. Now we're going to be taking this out, the sensor. So now we can actually turn this. So we can take this out, we can take this out, and come to find out, we got a bad bearing. Alright, let's get to it. Alright guys, so we got the axle out, we got the sensor, we got that out. Strut's loose. All we have to do is just take the 3 bolts from top. Here's the bearing. That's not supposed to be happening here, guys. I don't know if you can see that, but not normal. Something is off here. Alright guys, so yeah, just gotta put a new one in, and then here's the bolt for the lower control arm, which this is why we're taking all of this part. And then we gotta take this bracket out on this side to be able to loosen up the mount there. And then here we just got another bolt. I'm gonna figure that out. Alright, so what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna take this guy off of here so we can move this out of the way. I'm gonna loosen up the 3 bolts from top. Just gonna be those 3 guys there. You see one guy right there, this one, and then this one. And that should take this out of the way for me so I can have a little bit more possession of view and keep on going. Alright, we all got, guys. Alright guys, so we took the strut off. We got everything else loosened up. Obviously, I already took the low control arm off. So you got a 21mm here. Now this membrane, or this cross member that you have here in the bottom, you have to loosen it up. You don't have to take it all the way. I mean, it would be easier if you do, since you're going to be doing both sides. Well, at least I'm going to be doing both sides. But I don't feel like getting underneath the car right now. So you got a 21 here. You got on this side those 2, I think these are 15s on the bottom that hold the boot on this side. And then on this side you have 21 there. I don't know if you can see my finger. The 21 there. You got 1, 2 here. Okay, which are those bolts right there. You loosen those up, and then you get a pry bar, and then you just pry down on it, and then you're able to remove the control arm. So obviously this is the new one. That's the old one. That is completely shut. So now I'm gonna put this one back on, and I do have to go to the store and get the new bearing because we find out that the bearing is bad. So I'm gonna go to the store, get a new one, and I'm gonna start putting everything back together. So before I go to the store, at least I think I want to put the control arm back on. I still gotta take this sway bar link off. I got a new one to put on. Probably gonna do the sway bar link before I put the control arm, because I know the control arm is gonna sit pretty close. So I might do that real quick before slapping this guy in. Alright, be right back, guys. Alright guys, so we got the link on, we got the control arm on, got the bolt back on, we got that one there, the 2 here, the 1 here, and there's 2 15s on the bottom holding the mount there. We got all that back on. So now we're gonna be putting this one, okay. Why? Because we have that bolt here in the bottom. Then we're gonna attach our bearing, then our axle, and then we're gonna keep them, you know, going forward. We still gotta put our strut back in place. So yeah, let me get this guy in there. Let me put my strut back in place. Our axle first, our strut, and keep on going. All right, be right back, guys. All right, guys. So we got the new bearing back up. So we got the 15s back on. Make sure that they're tight. We got this one back on. I tried it with the impact and it didn't want to go, so it was too loose. So you have to hold it in the center with the Allen key, and then 18 on the bottom to tighten it down all the way. So that's ready to go. Now we can put our axle through, put a strut, and then our caliper, and so on and so on. So let me do that. Let me put the axle through and then do the strut. All right, be right back. Alright guys, so always double check your work. This is on. We got this is on. This line, the sensor is on. The link is on. So now the only thing we're missing is steering, caliper, bracket, new pads, and the nut here in the center. Alright, so let me put this guy on first. Actually, yeah, let me put this guy on first. That way we got this out of the way. Get that out of the way. Put this guy, and then we do the rotor and pads and whatnot. Alright, be right back. Alright guys, so before you put your tire back on, make sure that everything is in place where it's supposed to be. Let's start here. We got the caliper. Make sure you lubricate it. That's tight, top and bottom. The bracket, top and bottom is tight. The strut, top and bottom, and the link. The sensor on the rotor itself. There. This one is tight, the link is tight, top and bottom. All of our bolts are tight on the brackets. Our axle is tight in there. So everything is where it's supposed to be. And the strut is tight on top. The 3 nuts on top. Alright, so that being said, the only thing we're missing here is the hardware for here. And we're going to be putting the tire back on. And I'm gonna flip the car around so I can still stay in the shade. So then we can do the other side. Alright guys, let me do that. And always grease up your nuts, your studs. That way they don't get messed up later on. But yeah, so pretty much almost done. Now we just gotta do the other side, which is almost in process. Hopefully a little bit easier, but you know, if this one was rusty and this condition, the other side's gonna be just as bad. So they just make fun out of it. Alright guys, so let me put the hardware here, the tire on, so I can flip the car around and go for the other side. Alright, be right back. Alright guys, so we're already on the other side. The first thing I did was I put some PV blaster in all the bolts just to make myself a little bit easier. And basically, obviously I'm ready. The rotor is out. This one came out a lot easier. I didn't have to use any torch. So what I did is I tapped it here after I took the 18mm bolt nut, I'm sorry, out. Took that out. Then I came over to the caliper, compressed it in so that we're good for the new pads once we put everything back together. Took the 21mm bolts here. Now since this side has the transmission, I had to use a smaller socket so we wouldn't be hitting the transmission once, you know, using the impact. So that's that. So it's a 21, and then I took the rotor, I took the knot already, that's a 32. Obviously you got to take the pin and the secure knot sleeve in the front, so the axles are already loose. Next I'm going to spin this around. I'm going to take the sensor off, the link, and then this guy here, so we can separate this from the axle and whatnot. So yeah, let me take the sensor and the link off, and then these two guys here. Alright, be right back. Alright guys, so then we had a little problem here. That nut did not want to come off no matter what I tried. Tried putting pliers in the bottom, heating it up, didn't want to come out. So I ended up using my grinder to cut off the head of it. And now obviously this thing is going to come out. So yeah, how to use a grinder to cut that out so we can continue forward. Still iffy about that side here. I might have to lift up the transmission a little bit in order to get that bolt out so we can release it from there. So we'll see. Now we got this out, we can change the bearing on it. I'm going to take the strut out, the 3 nuts on top, so we can keep on having more space to work with. Alright, so now that that's done, let me keep on moving forward. The strut has to come out, the bearing has to be replaced. Let me get that done real quick. Alright guys, so this side's a little bit more complex so far. I had to cut it off because that bolt is kind of stuck in there. I kind of got it to move a little bit, but still it's really in there. So I'm thinking of taking this off. You know, obviously I cut it, so I'm gonna release it from the back, so you see if I can start hammering, you know, that bolt out of its place. I do have movement here, but still the nut itself, or the stud, it's kind of stuck either here or here, but it doesn't want to turn itself, or it's not backing out. So I'm gonna have fun with this one, and I'm trying to save that bolt because I don't want to go to hardware to get another bolt to be able to put this thing back together. So let me see if I could take this section off and start heating it or hammering it out and see how lucky I get. Alright guys, be right back. Alright guys, so this son of a gun is out. You see all that rust that was making this damn bolt from coming out? It does come out, you just gotta play with it with the transmission side. Still comes out. Now I gotta wire this freaking bolt down. Voila! So apparently some rust got in there, and when that happens, you start backing it out, it just keeps on making it tighter and tighter. That's what she said. But anyhow, I'm gonna clean this bolt down. I'm gonna start putting everything back together. It's taking a minute doing this side. I'm gonna be taking the link out right now since I have it already out here. I'm gonna put the new link before putting the control arm in. Let me do that real quick, and then we put the control back in. Alright? Alright guys, so again we have to use the grinder to cut it off. It did not want to come out. This thing is being a nightmare. Alright guys, so now we're back on the boat again. Now we gotta just keep on paddling and swimming. Alright, so staying afloat here guys. What a nightmare. Alright, so now I'm gonna be putting the new control arm since I already have the link on. And I still have to clean this guy out. So let me clean this guy out before I put it in. It's just a matter of playing with the control arm again to put it back in place. Alright, be right back. Alright guys, so Let's double check everything. I know I went ahead and kind of finished everything already. So make sure that you got that bowl, the two that go back here tying down, the 15s. Back there, that third one back there is going to be 18. The 221s behind this bracket, so you can loosen up the bottom plate. The one here for the control arm itself, the one on the control arm on the arm. These two right here, make sure that they're tight. Your cable, your link up and down, your steering, your bracket here for the caliper. The one up here and the one on the bottom, they're 21. This one's are 21 as well. The number 7 for the caliper. Make sure that you press the caliper in. Put the hardware. Grease up the thing for the lug nuts. The drive shaft. And now the only thing that I'm missing is tying down the 3 bolts on top for the those 3 nuts right there. That's the only thing that I'm missing, and then I could put the wheel and take it for a spin so we can wear down the pads to the rotor. Other than that, the job will be done. Like always, guys, share, like, subscribe, help me help you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.